Hi, welcome. Thank you for joining the Wellness Trinity podcast. I am Dr. Jacqueline, naturopathic doctor and owner of the Wellness Trinity, where we provide natural solutions for modern day wellness. Just a little disclaimer before we get started. What we discuss in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. What you do with the information is to be used at your discretion, as recommendations are not intended to treat, diagnose, or prevent any diseases. So without further ado, I'd like to bring on Adelina. She has been an acquaintance for a good amount of my life, I would say, but she became my life coach last year in 2017 and radically shifted things that were going on in my life. I'm so blessed that we were able to reunite and be able to be a benefit to each other. And she's the reason why I'm doing this podcast now and why I left my job last year to pursue my dreams and just really live the life that I've been called for. And I will have to say it's been quite the journey. And I just feel like it's brought me a lot of peace that, when you're following your dream, you have more peace, I feel like, or you can. I'm sure that you can find peace in the trauma and trials at the same time, but it's just a wonderful thing that she does with her life coaching programs and helping people in the world. So she has been, for 10 years, Adelina has worked with the youth and their families through one-on-one and group counseling and is now working with organizations and individuals, helping them build their dreams, accelerate the results, and create richer, more fulfilling lives. For Adelina, every day is an opportunity to practice gratitude and forgiveness. As a result, Adelina is known for her strong intuitive gift of supporting her clients, not only in their current endeavors, but also on their spiritual path. As a sought-after healer and life coach, Adelina offers inspiring workshops as well as transformational coaching that helps clients achieve new heights of success, meaning, and spiritual aliveness. So, Adelina, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for that beautiful intro. And I just want to say, as much as it's been such an amazing experience to witness and to have the opportunity to guide you last year, that was all you. That was all you. You took the steps, and so I just want to acknowledge you for that. So thank you.
Yeah. And, for those of you listening to this podcast right now, it's, as much as, like she said, we are the ones taking the step. It's so important, I think, to have people like Adelina on our journey to be able to kind of push us. Sometimes we don't want to be pushed in areas we don't, that are soft spots that maybe we don't, want to address. And Adelina is very gentle and and maybe a little, will force you when she needs to, but she's very intuitive in knowing how to work with you to get you to that point. And that's what we're going to discuss today. I have found that there's a lot of blockages that people have in achieving their health and wellness goals. They make excuses, and we're going to discuss a bunch of those, but there's also just other things that are going on in our mind. And I feel like the mindset is a huge part in people being able to be successful on their programs. And then also achieving your dreams. Health is just one aspect of this, but there's so much more that as a life coach, Adelina is looking at, and being able to address those other pieces of our life are very important and can also affect our health as well. Just like I was saying, how when I was able to just go out and just follow my dream, I had more peace. I wake up every day and I'm excited. So that obviously affects my body as well too. So Adelina, why don't you first go ahead and share with us what inspired you to do this work?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. It's been a journey and a blessing and a journey of so much growth. So a couple years ago, after 6 years of being with my partner at the time, a month before our wedding, I learned that he was cheating on me. I was devastated. And even though I was a therapist for so many years and I was doing all the things that I was telling my clients to do during difficult times, I could hardly get out of bed. I felt really heavy. I lacked motivation to do anything and everything I loved. And I was clinically depressed. And so I started brainstorming all the different ways that I could die. But I couldn't think of a way. Yeah, it was such a heavy, dark time. And honestly, I couldn't think of a way that was painless and effective. And so what I did instead was I prayed every night that I wouldn't have to wake up in the morning.
Mm.
Yeah. And every morning when I woke up, I like I would ask God, like, why did you wake me up? Like I prayed so much for you not to wake me up. Why would you wake me up? And
Mm.
I never got a response until one day I got angry. I didn't understand why God woke me up when there were so many other people in the world who wanted to wake up and didn't.
Mm.
And so that's when I heard from a place beyond me. Something I would never say. It was this humbling voice of truth tell me, I'm not done using you.
Mm. Wow.
And so I stopped dead in my tantrum right there because I realized that I had a greater purpose. And so I surrendered to God, to the universe, and just use me. Like, I have no idea what you have planned, but there must be a purpose. And then it helped me also feel like there was a purpose for this depression, and
Mm-hmm.
that through this experience, I was going to be able to serve.
Mm.
And so that led me into a journey that I'm still on, where of studying under some of the greatest teachers of transformation to learn how to really cause real results in our life and success, and have a life that you would love.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm so grateful to now have that system, not just for me, but for everybody that I serve. And it's freaking awesome, Dr. Jacqueline. It's so awesome because as I'm serving others and seeing their lives blossom,
Mm-hmm.
my life too has blossomed. So I've gotten,
Mm-hmm.
I've supported people in getting new promotions, starting new businesses, finding the
Mm-hmm.
love of their life, reaching their health goals, being the most fit they've ever been, all while in my own life, I've gotten healthier than I've ever been. It's also with your help. I have also gotten so much closer to my family. I've tripled my income and I'm engaged.
Woo!
Yeah, I'm engaged to the love of my life and super excited for us to get married in just a couple months here. So
Yeah.
really, really grateful and grateful to be in service today here with you.
Yeah, yeah. Adelina's definitely quite the matchmaker too. I mean, well, I already was with my fiance now, but we've been able to move further in our relationship, and we're almost going to be married soon too, as a result of all Adelina's work. And I see everything that we worked with. We
I'm
went
so
through
glad to hear
thick
that. Oh my God,
floods.
you haven't updated me on that. I'm
Yeah,
so
I know. I have. I
excited.
know. There's new things that we learn from each other all the time. But yeah, I mean, it just feels like I always go back to all the work that I did with you, and it was 6 months of just really creating a vision,
Mm,
seeing things clearer in our life, what we what's in our heart, what is God calling us to do, and in every area, not just one. And what do we want our health to look like? What do we want our relationships to look like? Where do we want to live? What type of job do we want to have? And finding peace in all those areas, I feel like, is such a crucial part to our health and well-being. And so I'm excited. It's like I look back, I'm like, oh my God, this came to pass now, and this is coming to pass now, and these are all these things that I was talking about with Adelina last year.
yeah, and it's been such an honor to witness. So thank you for that. And I just want to say, because for those of you watching or listening, sometimes you are like, well, you're Dr. Jacqueline. Of course this could happen for you, right? Or somebody might be like, well, that's this what you do for a living, Adelina. You're a spiritual life coach and speaker, right? But I just want to say, I mean, I was just talking to a client literally yesterday, and we were going over what all her wins for these past 6 months. And it's amazing in every area of her life. She moved into a new home in her dream city. She tripled her income in 6 months. Like that's, like unheard of, right? Unless you're doing this work, then you hear it all the time. But
Hmm.
she tripled her income within 6 months.
Yeah.
She started volunteer work that she feels really connected to, and it's like has a purpose that is connected to her heart. And she found her soulmate all within
Right.
6 months. You know what I mean? And so I just want to say, for those of you listening, this, if it's possible for my client, if it's possible for me, if it's possible for Dr. Jacqueline, it's definitely possible for you. So I just want to make sure you
Yeah.
know that this is for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And also know that like most of us that first come to a place, that we've achieved great success in our life, and there's so much even more to see blossom. But at the same point, we were all at that same place that maybe some of you guys are at today, where we were saying, I don't know how I'm going to get there. I don't know if it's even possible. I mean, Adelina met me at that place where I was just like, I want to leave my job, and I just want to help people get healthy, but I just don't, I didn't, I have a lot of faith, but I just really could not see how that was going to be possible living in California and, XYZ number of reasons. So, and then on top of that, my health was kind of suffering too a little bit because I just was so uneased, my heart and unrest, and the job I was doing I was blessed, don't get me wrong. I learned so much from there, but I definitely think that doing that and trying to do this on the side was too much. And then when you're not at peace doing your daily work too, it can totally just mess up your health as well. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look at you now. So yeah.
Yeah. So, what kind of things do you do to support people with in general? We talked about some of things, but maybe there's some other areas that we haven't touched on yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I really support people in going through their own vision, like you mentioned earlier. What areas of their life do they want to shift and change and grow in? And so that's what we focus on. So it might be several different areas. It might be one area. So, it could be their health and wellness. It could be their relationships. It could be their career. It could be their time and money freedom. It could be their spirituality, right? It could be any of those and some, and all of them or one, but just what's in your heart. And so I support people in really getting in touch with what's in their heart so that they can really manifest what it is that they would love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it goes back to that principle too, that, God gives us these dreams for a reason. He wants to see them come to pass. And I think when we can become one with that, as I've learned it, then, we're able to see them come to pass more, because now once we believe that, we can actually go after it. There's a part that we have to play as well too.
Totally. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you support people in creating these results?
Yeah, so I take them through a 4-phase process. So the first process is called blueprinting. So that's really where you're getting a clear vision of what it is that you would love. And then I take you through a 5-test system. Sometimes you're there, people are like, well, I don't know if this is really what I would love. So, I have like a 5-step test to make sure that what it is that you're visioning is actually in alignment with who you are and your highest self. And then I take you through bridging. So bridging, you're blueprinting, and then you got to bridge. The bridging is like the work, okay? Bridging is getting from where you are now to where you would love to be. And that's really where you're befriending your fears, you're increasing your sense of deserving, welcoming a greater flow of abundance, and evolving your perceptions so that you can really get to the other side. And then the third phase is building. Okay, you're on the other side, and now you're building in this new place. You're building your community, you're building your foundation, you're building your intuition and your ability to hear from your still small voice and have the courage to listen to it. Mm-hmm. And then the last phase is becoming. So you're becoming the person who you envisioned to begin with, the person living that life. Mm-hmm. And harvesting that dream even more.
Yeah. Yeah. So blueprinting, bridging, building, and becoming. Mm-hmm. So why don't we go into blueprinting?
Yeah. Yeah. I do want to say, I feel like just given our time, we'll probably be able to go into 2 of them before we go into the simple practices. Because I do want to give people practices that you could take away today, you could implement today and see results already.
Yeah. So for those of you listening, make sure you contact Adelina afterwards so you can get the rest of the picture, and she'll, be able to personalize that for you.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So the first one is blueprinting. And so this is really where we're going to be getting in touch with your vision. So I'd love to actually walk you all through a meditation. So I invite you to Dr. Jacqueline to just go ahead and place your feet flat on the ground. And just get comfortable and have your palms face up. And then close your eyes. I'm going to take 3 deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth, in through your nose, out through your mouth, in through your nose, out through your mouth, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Imagine that there is a big book open on your lap, full of pages on your left of your life written up until now. And all the pages on your right are blank. And you have the power and the authority to write your life. What would you love in regards to the relationships in your life? Are there any relationships you'd like to strengthen? Any issues you'd like to have resolved? How would you love to feel in your relationships? Bring to mind your career. How would you love to give your gift to the world? Who would you love to work with? Who would you love to serve? How much money would you love to earn? What would you do with that money? Give in ways you've always wanted to give. What would you love to do with your time? Are there places you'd love to visit? People you'd love to see? What would you love? How would you love to feel in your body? What kind of activities would you love to engage in? See yourself living your dream life, inviting in a gentle smile and repeating after me out loud. I love my life. I can have this life. Allowing yourself to come back to the room. Slowly opening your eyes. And I just invite you, if you haven't already, to take a moment to jot down any ideas that came up for you that you just want to remember. Okay, and so with that, would love to invite you to continue to write these 5 key tests that you can put your dream through to make sure that your dream is big enough for you. A lot of times we think that our dream is too big for us. It's never the case. A lot of times we're not dreaming big enough. Okay. We want to make sure our dream is big enough for us because we are amazing amazing people, amazing beings. So number one, does it give me more life? Number two, does it align with my core values? Number three, does it make me grow? Number four, does it require help from a higher power? And I just want to pause here because as long as you know how to get to your dream, it's not a dream. It's a worthy goal. We all know how to clean our garage, okay? But that's not a dream. A dream requires us to need help from a higher power. Whatever you call that higher power, you have to need help from it in order to get to your dream. And then lastly, does it have good in it for others? Truth is that as long as we're called to it, there's good in it for others. Even if it's like, I would love to find the love of my life, there's good in it for others, because who has been around someone who's with the love of their life, right? It feels so good, right? Yeah, it feels so good. So if there's good in it for others, that you want to recognize that there's good in it for others. So you want to be able to answer yes to all of these questions. And so if so, then your dream is big enough for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no, I love that. I love that our dream has to be bigger than ourselves. And, it just reminds us that there is a God and there is something greater controlling all of this. And we can tap into that. We can tap into the bigger picture here. And I think that's another thing that gives us peace too, is just, I feel like personally that I wouldn't be able to have gotten this far in my career and my life and follow my dreams if I didn't know God. And being able to work with you, I found that it just helped me get clear with what he's trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes,
Yes.
and that's what I love about you when you do these meditations, is that it allows us to just kind of sit still and listen. And I think in this world where we're so going all the time, sometimes we're missing things that God wants to speak to us. And these could be answers to our prayers, answers to our questions, or even our health. This is a health podcast. And, I do have some clients that come to me and they're already doing a lot of the things, or even some of the things that I might already recommend, because they have been listening and they have been tapping into that source. And so for me, I'm just kind of confirming what they're doing. And I always find that very interesting.
Oh, yeah. No, totally. I mean, the way I see it is also we're praying each other in, right? So before a client even gets to you, they're praying the perfect right doctor to work with them, and you're praying the perfect right client to serve. And so it would just make sense that when you come together, you're like, wait, you're already doing these things because it's the perfect right match. But I totally hear you. Actually, just today, I was humbly reminded that all of my prayers are being answered. That's just the way it works. They're all being answered. I might just not be aware to the fact that it's being answered. So then it's just, my prayer is like, help me become more aware of your presence in my life, not answer these prayers, because I know that you're already answering them.
Right. Yeah, I love that. It helped me to become aware. And I think that's a good, like a really key highlight of this podcast that's come out is becoming aware that God is answering your prayers. And there are a lot of answers out there to our questions in our health and our wellness, and who we're supposed to marry, since we've talked about that one a few times, where we're supposed to live. And there's a God that loves you. So thank you for that one, making us aware.
Yeah, no, I'm so grateful for the message today. So
yeah. So why don't we move on and see, why don't you explain what bridging is?
Bridging, I always have to like take a breath and smile, because bridging is like doing the deep work. And that sometimes, when you're talking about how I can have that tough love with people, it's always an invitation. But sometimes we're like, wait, oh man, God is having me, I need to forgive so-and-so, but I don't want to, So bridging is really, again, bridging from where you are now to where you would love to be.
Mm-hmm.
And in that gap is the healing work.
Mm.
Okay, so it's whatever you need to heal. And a lot of times it's befriending our fears that are coming up so that we can move past those fears into actually doing the work so that we can be in the place that we would love. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, some of the ways that paradigms come up and fears, another way to look at fears is what I call paradigms. And so paradigms are there to keep us alive. They're literally a part of our human psyche, because as much as we like to believe that we're separate from the rest of the animal kingdom, we're not that far along. We still have survival mechanisms. And so what that means is that for thousands of years, we have systems in our psyche to keep us alive. And that is, number one, the most important thing that our entire body does is it keeps us alive. All right. So that's great. I'm glad. Thank you for keeping me alive. And what happens though is that then we get at this place of kind of like a baseline of what it means to live, to just be alive. And anything that we do to move out of that, we get triggered. All right. We trigger our paradigms. So another way to put this is we have an internal thermostat. And so imagine that your thermostat's set at 70 degrees. And when things are, and hot is good and cold is bad, because I'm from California and that's how I feel. So, hot is good and cold is bad. So then when it gets cold, say you lose your job, you get a diagnosis, you lose a loved one, what happens is you're at 70 degrees, you get to 60 degrees. That's okay, because your paradigms are set at 70. So it's going to help you move back up. It's going to help you get back to the place of 70 degrees. Okay. So help you find that job, help you grieve, all that to move back to 70 degrees. However, if you're looking for a new job, if you're looking to start a new relationship, if you're wanting to buy a new home, okay, you want to strengthen your career, okay, anything like that, you're going to 75, 80 degrees. What happens is your paradigms are like, ding, 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 ding. Oh my God, that's not 70 degrees. And they do everything it can to bring you back to 70 degrees, because it doesn't care that you're like going after your dreams. It just cares that you're not in the 70-degree area that you've always been. Okay. Yeah. So then, but our paradigms don't say like, hi, I'm here to keep you back from your dreams. What it says instead is, it shows up through delay. Like, who do you should do this after you have that certification, after you have this much money saved, after you have that much time, or it will start dissuading you. That's like the little, angel and devil on your shoulder. Like, who do you think you are? You can't handle this, or you don't have the time for that. You don't have the money for that. You're not smart enough. Whatever it needs to say to hold you back. And then the last one is through a disaster. So it's a physical experience to hold you back. So maybe you have a breakdown. I actually served somebody who she wanted a promotion, and literally, this is no joke, like I'm not lying, 2 days after we started working together, her boss pulled her aside and was like, I haven't told anybody this, but I'm leaving and I'm recommending you in my position. Right? So she was super excited, but then here she was at 70 degrees, and now she jumped to like 80, 90 degrees because this was like a big promotion for her. So what did her paradigms do? It gave her, oh God, I just lost the word. What is it when you have chicken pox, but as an adult?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure where you're going with this one.
No, but I'm just the name of that disease. It's a disease.
Oh, chicken pox. Shingles?
Shingles. Thank you. Yes. She got the shingles and she's in her mid 30s. Right? But luckily she was in support. So I was able to support her past the paradigms that were telling her, you can't handle this promotion.
Yeah.
You're not strong enough to handle this promotion. Right? So that's what her paradigms were trying to hold her back. And so luckily she was in support so we can move past it, help her not just heal her body, but heal her mind so as not to fall back into the 70-degree place
Yeah.
he was at before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the ways that I'm really helping people move past their fears during the bridging phase.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's a lot that comes up when people are working with their health too, and working past their fear. It is scary for a lot of people to. First of all, we're not trained on this type of thing. We're not taught that we should eat certain foods, or to a certain
Mm-hmm.
extent. Maybe we'll have a little bit of education, but it's not as mass publicized to fix your toxins or take certain supplements for your deficiencies as some
Yes.
other things are taught. And and that's why we do this podcast. But at the same time, for a lot of people, they're in their comfort zone. They're like, well, I don't know if I want to change my diet, or
Yes. Totally.
my family, they all eat like this. And eating is just one aspect of the whole situation. But then you maybe supplements. People will look at this supplement list I might give them so that we can work on bigger imbalances and toxicity issues, and then think, well, I have to take these pills. I don't want to take pills.
Yeah. No,
Different.
that's totally in a line, right? Like you're at
Mhm.
70 degrees and then you're being encouraged to do something else, and then other things hold you back. Like, well, maybe
Right.
when I have more time so I can do this supplement regimen, maybe when I have more money so that I can pay for it, and that's delay. You know what I mean? To hold you back from that which you would really love.
Yeah. 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 And the other thing and point I wanted to address too that you brought up is how your client had a physical reaction to what was mentally going on. And
Mm-hmm.
that's something, we are the Wellness Trinity because this is a mind, a body, spirit connection that we're going through in life. And we can't just address one aspect of it without thinking about what are the other things that play a role in this, what's going on with the person. So, this person got shingles because they're, maybe in their mind, the back of their head, they don't even know that they're doing this, but they're over analyzing this promotion. And
Yeah.
I had a physical reaction too. When I first started doing consultations a few years ago, I was in study mode for a while and in my little hole and not working with people. And when my fiance at the time was like, okay, it's time to start working with people again. I got this little machine that I use, the Zyto, and I was paralyzed basically in my bed all day. I couldn't move.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I couldn't
Yes.
believe it. I was like, I can't move. What's wrong with me?
Yes. Yep. That's totally like that's a part of the physical reaction that what I call disaster is paralyzation, right?
Mm,
Like you just can't move. Something that comes up for me is I get sleepy. And that sounds like, oh, that's not so bad, but it's like I'm in the middle of a conversation. And, oh my God, all I can do is sleep. Like it's so
uh-huh,
crazy. Like I have to sleep because that's what's going on. Physically. My body's like, oh my God, she's about to do something beyond 70 degrees. Shut her down.
uh-huh.
And so I get
Yeah.
this like overwhelming sleepiness that comes over me when I'm about to move into the direction of my next highest vision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing I've seen too with clients, a lot of times people will feel like, well, I've tried everything and nothing worked. And, in my opinion, we're living in a big world and there's a lot of things to experiment with. So, the conversation that we're having in our mind is really crucial for the success that we have in every area of our lives, including our health.
Mm-hmm.
So, why don't you talk about some of the best strategies to get past these paradigms?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that strategies are a must. So the main way that research has found that we can move past these paradigms that you're talking about, that we're talking about here, is through changing our paradigm through either impact, having impact. So that means like a huge emotional impact happens. Unfortunately, though, it's usually accidental because again, our mind, it comes from a place of survival. So we're always thinking about like what to do to make sure that we don't die. Okay. So a huge emotional impact. I'm sure you know somebody, or maybe you yourself, if you're listening, have experienced this where you got diagnosed with something and then you completely change things around. You change your whole lifestyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you got diagnosed or you were told that you If you kept this up, then you were only going to be able to live X long, or without these capabilities, right? So you change everything. Also, I've met people who, they lost a loved one, and that like smacked them in the face, and they wanted to change their own life because they saw that their loved one was smoking or whatever, or something happened to them, and that like shook them, right? Or it could be a divorce. It could also be, a loss of a job, but it's usually something we're not planning for that shakes us. So that's a huge emotional impact. The only other way to move past our paradigms is to have what I call a triangle system of support. So on one hand, it's a vision. So you know what you're going towards. It's like saying, oh, I want to travel the world. And then you arrive at the airport. Even if you really want to travel the world, you have to tell them where the heck you want to go. Like you have to know that. Otherwise, nobody at the airport, no matter how skilled they are, will be able to help you, right? So you want to have a vision. You want to have a mentor. You want to have a mentor through it because there's somebody outside of you who has been through this process and is able to support your process. It's the way I look at it is like you're climbing up a ladder, and someone who is at least one rung higher than you in their experience so that they can look back and help pull you up. That's what we're here for. Okay. So you want to have a vision, a mentor, and then you want to have a structure of support so that you're repeatedly and consistently moving past your paradigm. So when your paradigms come up, that you have a structure of how to move past them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I like that. It's planning ahead. It sounds like the
yes. The triangle is an intentional choice. So the idea is you want to make the intentional choice to shift past your paradigms instead of waiting for the smack in the face.
Exactly. Yeah. And who likes that? None of us want to hear about a premature death of a family member or us or even ourselves getting diagnosed with a disease, or, we're trying to run a business. I meet a lot of entrepreneurs nowadays. We're running businesses and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I'm so fatigued. I can't run this business anymore, or whatever the situation. You're a mother and now something's going on in your physical body and you're like, okay, but I can't even take care of my child, because my mind is so in the wrong place. And our mind there's a huge connection with our gut. So if the gut is thrown off, then the mind can be thrown off, or vice versa. The mind is thrown off, the gut can be thrown off. So it's really important to pay attention to ourselves. It's like, a plane, when you go on a plane, and as we were talking about the airport analogy, and they say that you should first take care of yourself before you put the mask on your child if there was supposed to be an emergency. Well, the better that we are taking care of ourselves, the better that we're able to take care of others around us. And it seems like God's always kind of trying to push us toward that calling. So something rather than not seems to happen at some point if we're not paying attention to that voice, that still small voice, and taking care of yourself, finding out what it is that He wants for your life, and a number of other things that Adelina brings up when she life coaches people.
Yeah, what do they say? First it's a whisper, then it's a knock, then it's a bang, then it's like kicking, and then your door is shut down, and it's, oh my gosh, a fire, and it's like, okay, I get it, I have to change something. So the idea is you want to get into that triangle system of support before the fire happens.
Exactly. Yeah. Unless you like trauma and trials and tribulations.
I'll be honest. Let me say this. I don't usually share this, but I literally was the type of person prior to my deep depression where I was like, man, patience is a virtue I don't have. And I just want to, if I have to learn it, I'm just going to have to learn the hard way. And literally, I will learn the hard way in everything. In everything, I would learn the hard way. And then when I really got, down deep in my depression, I was like, okay, I never want to learn like this again. After I heard that message, I was like, okay, there's a reason for this, but God, please, if there's another way to learn next time, please show me.
Right.
That's really what brought me into this work. It was like a God. Yeah. Want to know another way? Here's another way, child. Here is another way.
Well, that's the beauty of what both me and you do. We can see things before it's even a big problem, and hopefully steer the client in the right direction as much as possible as we, humanly and spiritually can, without them having to go and now, oh my gosh, this is happening and that's happening and my body's falling apart and my mind is falling apart.
Yeah. No, totally. I get it. I've been there, and I just, whatever I can do to support people to not have to go there
Yeah,
themselves.
no, totally. I agree. Yeah, losing a father was enough for me too. So
Mm.
my goal is to help as many people not have to experience that trauma. 38 years old. It's that's how old he was, and so
Mm.
I'm almost I'm getting to be there in a few years, and so it's just hard to think like, wow, you left a family behind with 3 children, and I shouldn't say it like that. It's not his fault, but if there's ways that people can address issues like this before is now you don't have a father, or my dad would have loved to live to take care of his kids, but and that's for a message for some people. I feel like that are listening to this message right now. If you can't do it for yourself, do it for your family, because they love you,
Mm.
and if you don't think
Yes.
they love you, they probably still do. And if
Hmm.
maybe they don't, then maybe there's someone that does, and if not, God. But
Yes.
somebody loves you out there. So if you can't find it in yourself at first, because sometimes our deficiencies and toxicities will even mask that self-love too. So
Mm.
yeah, as long as you take the first steps, it will lead you to the next and to the next and the next, and then you'll find yourself in a different place.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Thank you for that.
on that note of steps or practices, I know you like to call it, what are some 4 simple practices that the listeners can do to reach their health goals?
Yes, I'm so excited to share this because sometimes people are like, well, there's a 4-phase process and I want to see some results today. And so it's so important to me to be able to offer things that you can do today, starting today, that will help you get to your health goals, or actually, to be honest, any goals that you have in whatever areas of your life or all the areas of your life that you're having a longing in. So the first is that you want to make a new healthy choice a day. One new choice that you're having a day. So baby steps will take you up Mount Everest, right? So even if it's just a baby step, know that that's a step, you know? And so you want to create a new pattern in yourself, because your nervous system is wired so that you, when you do right, that you feel right. So you want to just start doing that. Okay. And just remembering that the number one wealth is that you feel good about yourself.
Mhm.
When you're making one new healthy choice a day, you start feeling really good about yourself. And this actually creates an upward momentum of choice making.
Mm.
So whether you're saying you're doing the same healthy choice every day, and then give yourself a start date and an end date of when you're going to be doing this experiment of doing a healthy choice. And then at the end date, you could reassess and you could choose it again. You could choose to continue the practice, but you always want to have an end date with every practice. That way your mind doesn't play tricks on you saying like, oh God, I don't want to do this anymore. No, it's like overwhelming. I have to do a healthy new choice forever. It's like, I'm going to do one healthy new choice every day this week. Maybe I'm going to be drinking all the water I need to be drinking. I'm going to do 10 push-ups before I go to bed. I'm going to go to bed at 10:30. Whatever your healthy choice is that you want to make. And it can also be a healthy choice. When I say healthy, and like you said, the Wellness Trinity is all about mind, body, and spirit, right? And so it could also be, I'm going to call my mom.
Mhm.
I'm going to tell my partner I love her. Whatever it is that you need to do, do that, do one a day and feel good about it. The second practice that you can start doing today is you start your day at night. You want to do this to rest, renew, restore, release, and refocus. Okay, so you're starting your day at night. Your day begins when you go to bed. So you want to give thanks for your day every night. So you want to be able to reflect on your day, give thanks to it. And even when your day wasn't necessarily to your liking, and this is so important, even if it's not like the best day you ever had, you still want to find where in your day can you be grateful. What things happened? Who did you run into? Who did you connect with? Or maybe there were lessons learned. All right. And you want to set your intention for the following day the night before, because the law of attraction really does work that way.
Mm.
Okay. You're setting your intention. You're going to bed. You're bringing yourself to that place. You're priming yourself for that to come into play tomorrow.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such an important practice. The third practice I want to share today is that you want to enter into a dialogue with your body. Our bodies are so brilliant, right? Like the most advanced science hasn't quite figured everything out of how the heck our body works. Our body knows so much. And so you want to connect to your body and ask, what areas are calling for attention right now? And how can you nurture and listen to that part of your body? What is it trying to tell you? What do you need?
Mm-hmm.
And you can, again, this is something you can start doing today. And then
Yeah.
the last one is you want to fill your mind with thoughts that increase your well-being. Okay. You don't get to choose if you have thoughts in your mind, but you do get to choose what you put in it. We all have thoughts, but we get to choose what exactly we're putting in our mind.
Mm-hmm.
Lao Tzu says, if you correct your mind, the rest of your life will fall into place.
Mm.
So we want to give ourselves the opportunity to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Emerson said, stand guard at the portal of your mind. What's filling your mind right now?
Mm-hmm.
And you want to fill it with thoughts that increase your well-being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what I would invite folks to do, what I would love to invite folks to do, I know I named 4. And again, it's always like the feeling of overwhelm comes up a lot for people when they're moving towards their goals and their vision. So just pick one of the 4 that I just named that you're going to commit to today. And remember, have a start date and an end date.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do this for 3 days. I'm going to do this for a week. I'm going to do, just have a start date and end date.
Yeah.
At the end date, reassess. Do you want to do it again for X amount of time? But give yourself the opportunity to really practice.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's, I love that word practice because it's a practice, and we are not going to be perfect at all at once. And, just the last story to sum this all up, recently I tend to look at my schedule and create a calendar of my week and put things where they belong. And that doesn't always exactly happen the way it should happen, but at least I can put my mind in that area that time, or I know I need to reschedule it for another time. But I think, a lot of people are dealing with anxiety and they can't sleep. But if you're able to start your day at night, like she said, and just kind of schedule out time to do certain things so that you can keep your mind focused in the present moment, then you'll be able to focus also as well on doing things for your health too. And just decreasing that anxiety and getting a better sleep will also be able to just reflect in your health as well.
Yeah. Yes, totally. Thank you for that reminder.
Yeah. So, I just thank you so much for coming on the show. And I just want, people to know more about you, where they can find you, where they can have life coaching help and any other services that you offer. So where can the listeners find you?
Thank you so much for asking. It is in my vision to serve and to serve, knowing that I am being served as well. And so, feel free to reach me and connect with me on my website, surrenderedhealing.com. And also do want to just put in there that I have an application process for a Design Your Dream session where I'll be going in depth into what is your longing or discontent. What is your intuition calling you towards? What would you love? And the next best steps to get there. And for anybody who applies through the Wellness Trinity, you won't have to pay. It's usually $500. You won't have to pay. It will just be a gift because Dr. Jacqueline, I really believe in the work that you're doing. And so anybody that's in your community, I would just love to gift that to. So that's on my website. And just when it says like, where did you find out about this? Just write the Wellness Trinity podcast, and I'll, bypass the application process and the fee for you.
Yeah, we discussed this before, and this free gift, which is very generous. And so I thank you. I thank you because I really know that working with other practitioners that are specialized in what they do, really helps the person become more healthy and whole as a result. So we just thank you, and please take advantage of that. Also, it doesn't matter when you listen to this, right? It could be years from now, Adelina will still offer this, right?
Yeah, yeah. As
Okay,
long as
yeah. So just
that is in there, just put that you got this
okay.
from the Wellness Trinity, so I know that you're getting this as a gift.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much again. Is there any last comments you wanted to make?
The one thing I would really love to just make sure that listeners take away with them is just the reminder that what's inside of you, that power, that divinity is bigger than any circumstance that you're facing today.
Mm, mm, that was beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that, Adelina.
Thank you.
All right, listeners. We will be continuing this next week, and thank you for listening. Have a nice day.